from 12 News, breaking news.
We begin tonight with that breaking news. As just moments ago, law enforcement and other officials say an aircraft went down near Washington's Ronald Reagan National Airport. All takeoffs and landings have been halted, according to the Associated Press. We know that multiple helicopters, including those from the U.S. Park Police and the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department and U.S. military, were flying over the scene of the incident. This all happening near the Potomac River, and that flight said to come from Wichita. We know that Fire and EMS said on X that fireboats were on the scene. The airport said emergency personnel were responding to an aircraft incident on the airfield.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 10.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Maxine Stryker.
And I'm Kai Jackson. We begin with breaking news tonight out of Washington, D.C. A ground stop has been issued at Reagan National Airport, which is actually in Virginia, according to the FAA. Officials are saying it's because of what they're calling an aircraft emergency. They say a small aircraft flew into the Potomac River close to the airport.
And take a look at this video from EarthCam. The live camera at the Kennedy Center caught what appears to be the crash. You can see an explosion mid-air. We're hearing a helicopter hit an American Airlines aircraft flying from Wichita to D.C. with 60 people on board. It's not clear how many people are hurt at this time.
Right now on the news at 11, we are following some major breaking news near Reagan National Airport. You have been with us for hours. We've been sharing this with you. A massive rescue operation is underway after a passenger jet crashed into the Potomac River, and you are looking live at the efforts to try to find anybody to save someone out there. That plane went down after colliding midair with the Army Black Hawk helicopter.
Yeah, you can see the collision right here. We know this is tough to watch on this video from EarthCam we got a short time ago. We're learning new details by the minute, but here's what we know as of 11 o'clock on a Wednesday night. This plane was coming from Wichita, Kansas, and operated by American Airlines. The collision happened as the plane was trying to land at Reagan National Airport. We're told 60 passengers and 4 crew were on board when that plane went down. So right now, police have not confirmed any fatalities. We should point that out, and all flights in and out of Reagan National Airport have been halted. Thank you for being here with us at 11 o'clock. I'm Lorenzo Hall.
It has been a long night, and it is destined to be a very long one. I'm Leslie Foster. We've got team coverage for you as we work to piece together what happened here.
7 News on your side at 11 starts now. We begin with a breaking news alert.
Good evening, I'm Michelle Marsh. Major breaking news tonight as we come on the air. A regional passenger jet and an Army helicopter collide, crashing into the Potomac River. This is a live look at the large emergency presence on scene. Let's pull that up. You see it right there. New shocking video also appears to show the moment that the collision happens. The plane starting to land when it disappears behind what looks like a fireball. Right now, new details are trickling in, but here is what we know so far. Reagan Airport is shut down, the FAA issuing a ground stop. We know DC fireboats are part of this massive rescue response that's happening as we speak.
WMAR 2 News at 11 begins now with breaking news.
We start tonight with breaking news out of D.C. You see a sea of red lights, rescue crews, EMS, and emergency personnel after a mid-air collision over the Potomac. The crash involved a commercial flight and a Black Hawk helicopter. It happened around 9 o'clock this evening. Now, according to the FAA, American Eagle Flight 5342, operated by PSA Airlines, was headed to runway 33 at Reagan National Airport. The jet left Wichita, Kansas, and was expected to arrive around 9 o'clock. So you imagine family and friends at the airport waiting for people. NTSB is heading up the investigation tonight. According to ABC News, 60 passengers and 4 crew members were on the commercial jet. And according to a defense official tonight, there were 3 Army soldiers in that helicopter.
Live from WJZ, this is breaking news.
And we welcome you in here at 11 o'clock as we are following tragic and breaking news out of Washington, D.C. You are getting a live look at the Potomac River tonight, where an American Airlines flight and a military helicopter crashed in midair before falling into the water. Resources from the district and federal levels, part of what is a massive response tonight, searching for any possible survivors. along with new information from Governor Wes Moore that Maryland agencies also joining in to assist. And we're going to pull this up, new video from EarthCam that appears to show that moment the two aircraft collided in midair. Look at the right side of your screen. You just saw it there over the horizon. That smaller light of that helicopter approached the larger light of the plane. And then there was the fireball and the smoke as that wreckage came down. It is a tragic night as we welcome you into the news at 11, everyone. I'm Rick Ritter. Now, we know that flight just moments away from landing at the airport before it crashed. And here's what CBS News has confirmed here for our 11 o'clock newscast. 60 passengers and 4 crew members on board American Flight 5342 as it was approaching to land at Reagan Washington National Airport tonight.
From WBAL TV 11, this is breaking news.
Good evening. We are starting with breaking news tonight. A plane crash near Ronald Reagan National Airport. Right now, at least 60 people are feared dead.
We are told that a passenger jet from a regional airline collided with a Black Hawk helicopter tonight. President Donald Trump has been briefed and rescue crews are in the Potomac River right now.
11 News anchor Jason Newton is covering this from the live desk for us tonight. And Jason, we are getting new details on this every couple minutes.
A lot going on here. We'll sort of work our way through it. Here's what we know so far. The initial calls for this came in of a commercial plane versus a Black Hawk helicopter, a collision about 8:53 to DC fire. That flight was operated by something called PSA Airlines, but they are working for American Airlines. 60 passengers on board, 4 crew members on board. Typically, that's 2 pilots and 2 flight attendants. They were en route from Wichita, Kansas to DC. What we know of the helicopter, we've learned that this is the Army helicopter, and I'll have more on that coming up a little bit later, but we know 3 crew members were on board at the time. What was clear over the skies of DC was catastrophe, and it was caught on tape. Take a look. This is web camera video. You see that flash of the crash there. This is a web camera from the Kennedy Center. It appears to be that plane in the distance, and it'll re-rack again. You'll see it with the helicopter in front. You can see it at light right near the distance there in that fireball. Here's another live look. You were seeing that from the scene earlier. I want to show you again just the response because it has been incredible throughout the night. This is a live picture that we've been seeing right now. Helicopters in the air doing some of the rescue work. Also on the ground, you can see some of the flashing lights. And as we switch in between these pictures, you get a better eye of the operations there.
On your side, 12 News starts with breaking news.
And that breaking news from D.C., where a webcam captures a mid-air collision between an American Airlines jet and an Army helicopter over the Potomac River near Reagan National Airport. Upon impact, you can see a fireball followed by flaming debris falling into the icy water below.
Rescue boats are on the Potomac right now searching for possible survivors. 64 people were aboard the American Airlines Flight 5342, which originated in Wichita, Kansas. 3 soldiers were aboard the Black Hawk helicopter. A ground stop is in place at Reagan Airport, and all air traffic there has come to a halt. We are on your side tonight with team coverage as we continue to follow the latest developments. Chantel Davis is standing by at the Richmond Airport with how the crash is impacting air traffic there.
But we begin with Franklin White. He is in the First Alert Center with more on the crash as well as the search and recovery effort. Franklin.
Information is still coming in. Kurt and Raleigh, right now there's a massive search and rescue operation underway at the Potomac River as crews are now searching for victims following the crash. You see a live look right here.
Local, live from KCTV5, this is breaking news.
And breaking right now, a search and rescue operation is underway tonight in the Potomac River right near Reagan Washington National Airport in Washington, D.C. This is a live look there right now after a passenger plane from Wichita collided with a military helicopter while attempting to land at Reagan National Airport.
As best we can understand right now, that plane that originated in Wichita was carrying 60 passengers and had 4 crew members on board. It was a smaller Bombardier jet outfitted to carry about 65 people, so it was at capacity.
We are following 2 big breaking stories tonight on 11 News at 10. Recovery operations are underway right now in Washington, D.C., specifically in the Potomac River. On the left is the moment a plane crashed into a Black Hawk helicopter. Crews are currently on scene looking for survivors. Plus, snow is moving into the area. It'll impact your morning drive to work and dropping the kids off at school. The latest from our chief meteorologist on what to expect.
Live from your breaking news leader. KKTV 11 News starts right now.
Good evening. Thanks for being with us. I'm Lindsay Boach. Adam Atchison is off tonight. We begin with an 11 breaking weather alert and a live look outside the 11 News studios near Woodman and I-25.
This is breaking news from KSL.
We are following breaking news out of the nation's capital where a passenger plane has collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter.
Yeah, this plane with more than 60 people on board was landing at the time, and right now crews are in the water searching for any survivors. The plane was landing at Reagan International Airport in Arlington, just across the Potomac River from Washington, D.C. This is a live look for you at the scene where search and rescue crews are scouring this river. Here's what we know right now. There were 60 passengers and 4 crew members on the American Airlines flight from Wichita, Kansas, and 3 soldiers on that Army Black Hawk helicopter. They were on a training flight. According to CNN, authorities are saying that there are casualties, but no bodies have been recovered. Video captured by EarthCam, capturing what appears to be an explosion over the water as a passenger plane approached the runway. People who witnessed the tragedy are in shock.
This is Alert 3. Crash.
Did you see that?
A Wichita jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter collide midair over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. No survivors.
Let's continue to use our words for comfort.
You were with them in the cold waters of the Potomac and your angels watching over them.
Our investigative team will be on scene as long as it takes in order to obtain all of the perishable evidence and all the fact-finding that is needed.
Also on the plane, 14 skaters and coaches from last week's figure skating championship events in Wichita.
Tremendous sadness for the families, the teammates, the entire skating community here in Wichita.
Good evening. This is a live picture of the scene near Washington, D.C.'s Reagan National Airport, where crews continue to search in the dark for victims of that fatal plane crash. Reagan Washington National Airport has now reopened as officials work to recover bodies and begin the process of investigating what led to that fatal collision.
We are going to leave no stone unturned in this investigation.
Questions over air traffic control understaffing after 67 people, including at least 1 Minnesotan, are still being searched for. A passenger plane and Army helicopter crash over the Potomac River last night. What we're learning about the moments leading up to the crash. Plus, the Rochester NAACP shares its plans for Black History Month. KIMT News 3's Cyril Correa previews the events happening locally.
And the warm weather is not stopping winter activities here in Winona. I'm KIMT News 3's Emma Estep live with all the fun from its annual Ice Festival.
And it certainly has been warm here today. Temperatures up into the 50s and 60s. Record highs were set, but we're tracking changes. More typical winter weather's in the forecast, and that's coming up.
Live from KIMT News 3, we've got you covered. This is KIMT News 3 at 6.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Right now at 10 o'clock, new details tonight about the victims killed in the nation's deadliest plane crash in nearly 25 years. We speak to a local religious leader who knew one of the victims. And a teenager arrested for shooting a dog in the middle of an Indianapolis street. Why neighbors say they're not surprised.
News 8 at 10 starts now.
And right now at 10 o'clock, we start with that deadly plane crash in Washington, D.C. Officials saying there are no survivors tonight. We're learning new details about the crash and the victims, and we start with Brian Abel.
Ties to the local figure skating community.
I look after those people, and they were my inspiration.
As the recovery mission breaks for the night, transportation officials still looking for answers.
What happened yesterday shouldn't have happened.
Where the investigation turns now and how the community is reacting to the tragedy. Your news starts right now. Good evening. It's been 25 hours now and counting since the deadliest U.S. air tragedy in a generation.
60 passengers, 4 crew members, and 3 U.S. Army soldiers killed when an American Airlines jet and a Black Hawk helicopter collided in the air over Reagan National Airport. Now, as we take a live look from our Fox 5 Skycam right now, A very, very different scene over at DCA than around this time last night. We have just learned that both black boxes have been recovered from the plane that went down in the Potomac. The recovery operation has paused for the night, but will pick up again tomorrow morning.
Our crews are spread out all across the region, bring you every angle of the tragedy. Sierra Fox, David Kaplan, Josh Rosenthal, and Tisha Lewis are all standing by.
But we do want to begin with Nana Singh-Bonsu, who joins us live from Reagan National with what we are learning from the investigation. She has the latest. Hi, Nana.
Fox 45 News is following the deadly plane crash in the nation's capital, the investigation into what caused the tragedy and what we know about the Marylanders on board. A juvenile car stealing spree breaks out across the city. What we're learning about the alleged crimes committed. And Ravens kicker Justin Tucker faces allegations of sexual misconduct from multiple Baltimore spas. His response to the claims.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News Late Edition.
A loss of life in an aviation accident is very unusual in the United States. And our heartfelt sorrow goes out to everyone that's affected. It affects us, it affects everyone around us. There are a lot of people hurting today.
Fox 45 News is following the deadly plane crash in Washington, D.C. We know an American Airlines flight carrying 64 people collided with a military Black Hawk helicopter with 3 soldiers on board. Officials say there are no survivors. The NTSB says they have recovered both black boxes from the American Airlines flight in the Potomac River, and they hope those instruments provide some insight into what led to the tragedy. Good evening, I'm Kai Jackson. 5 of the victims from the mid-air collision are Marylanders, part of the Steam Fitters 602 Workers Union.